The silver-hulled alien vessel descended through Earth's atmosphere, its sleek form causing a stir at the United Nations landing pad in New York. Jack Harmon stood rigid in his formal suit, uncomfortable after years of wearing either military, fatigues, or field research gear. As Earth's leading xenobiologist, his presence was required for this historic meeting. "They're bigger than I expected," whispered Olivia Russell from beside him. The tall linguist clutched her translation tablet. Nervously, Jack nodded. The aliens emerging from the ship stood nearly 8 feet tall, their bodies covered in scale-like plates that shimmered blue-green under Earth's sun. 4 arms extended from powerful torsos, and their eyes, 3 of them arranged in a triangle, blinked independently as they surveyed the human delegation. Admiral Gregory Peterson stepped forward. "Welcome to Earth. We are honored by your presence." The lead alien made a sweeping gesture with its upper right arm. "The Galactic Council extends greetings to humanity." Its voice came through translators as surprisingly melodic. "I am Zikthar, senior diplomat of the Council that unites 32 spacefaring species." The formal introductions continued as planned. Jack studied the aliens' movements, noting how they seemed to move with deliberate slowness around the humans. Their muscle density was obvious even beneath their ceremonial garments. He estimated each visitor could probably lift 3 times what a strong human could. Later, during the demonstration of human culture and capabilities, Jack noticed something odd. When the military honor guard performed their rifle drills, Zikthar and his delegation subtly moved closer together. When Olympic athletes demonstrated human physical abilities, the aliens exchanged quick glances. "They're afraid," Jack whispered to Olivia during a break. "Did you see how they reacted when Staff Sergeant Miller did those 100 push-ups?" Olivia frowned. "That doesn't make sense. They're stronger than us in every measurable way." "I know, but there's something about us that worries them." The next 3 days passed in a whirlwind of meetings, presentations, and diplomatic exchanges. The Galactic Council offered technological advancements that would propel humanity forward by centuries. Faster-than-light travel, clean energy systems, medical technologies that could eliminate most diseases. In return, they wanted only to study humans, our biology, our history, our cultures. They seemed particularly interested in human warfare and our capacity for endurance. On the 4th day, Jack slipped away from the formal reception at the UN building and found Olivia in a small translation room. "Find anything interesting?" he asked. Olivia looked up from her screens, her eyes troubled. "There are inconsistencies in their translations when discussing human conflict. Words like soldier and warrior are being translated with tags that include concepts like potential danger and monitor status." Jack leaned against the desk. "That matches what I've observed. During the physical demonstrations, their biochemical responses indicated fear reactions, not just curiosity. But why would they fear us? Their technology is centuries beyond ours. A single one of their ships could probably destroy our entire navy." Before Jack could answer, his secure phone buzzed. It was Admiral Peterson. "Harmon, I need you and Russell in the secure briefing room now." 20 minutes later, they sat around a table with the Admiral and 5 other high-ranking officials. Peterson's face was grim as he activated a holographic display. "We intercepted and decoded this transmission sent from their ship to somewhere beyond our solar system." The hologram showed alien text with a rough translation below. Jack read aloud. "Preliminary assessment confirms suspicions. Human genetic structure contains dormant sequences matching pattern Omega. Recommend immediate probationary status with enhanced monitoring protocols." "What's pattern Omega?" Olivia asked. Admiral Peterson shook his head. "We don't know. But I don't like being classified as something that needs enhanced monitoring protocols." "They're offering us the stars," said the Secretary of Defense. "We can't refuse based on a vague transmission." The debate continued for hours. Jack remained troubled, but the political and economic benefits of joining the Galactic Council were too great to ignore. Eventually, Earth's governments voted to accept. 2 weeks later, Jack found himself aboard the massive Council hub station orbiting Earth. He had been assigned as the human liaison to the Council's Biological Research Division. Officially, he was there to learn. Unofficially, Admiral Peterson wanted him to discover the Council's true intentions. After his orientation, Jack used his security clearance to access the xenobiology database. He searched for information about human biology compared to other species. Most of the data was restricted, but he found enough to confirm his suspicions. Humans were physically weaker than most Council species, but their endurance was exceptional. Human pain tolerance was classified as abnormally high. The ability to function while injured was noted as concerning. As Jack was about to log out, a notification flashed on his screen. A new file had been added to the Human Assessment database. He quickly copied it before security protocols could block his access. Back in his quarters, Jack opened the encrypted file. What he read made his blood run cold. Species assessment, human, Terra, Earth, classification, potential war strain. Species, threat level, moderate, projected, severe if fully activated. Recommendation, containment, priority. Notes, genetic analysis. Confirms humans carry dormant sequences consistent with progenitor war engineering. Historical analysis suggests periodic partial activations during extreme conflict situations. Current activation level estimated at 8%. Monitoring indicates no awareness of latent capabilities. Recommend standard containment protocol if integration fails. Jack stared at the screen, his mind racing. War engineering, dormant sequences, containment protocol. His secure line beeped. It was Olivia. Jack, I found something in the linguistic database. You need to see this. I found something too, he replied quietly. I think we've been invited to join the Council so they can study us. They think humans have some kind of hidden potential they're afraid of. There was silence on the line before Olivia responded. The historical translation matrix has a special category for humans. When we talk about war, the translation includes tags for sleeping gods and world enders. Jack looked out his viewport at Earth, beautiful and blue in the distance. Olivia, I think they believe humans are weapons, and I'm starting to wonder if they're right. 6 months had passed since Earth joined the Galactic Council. Humans were now a common sight on the massive hub station orbiting Proxima Centauri b. They worked alongside aliens from 32 different worlds, learning and sharing knowledge. But not all knowledge was freely given. Jack Harmon sat in a dimly lit corner of the station's observation deck, watching the swirling gases of the nearby nebula. His tablet displayed a message from Dr. Elaine Wright, the geneticist he had recruited, to help investigate the Council's interest in human DNA. Meeting confirmed. Lab 12, midnight station time, found something big. He deleted the message and stood up, stretching casually while scanning for any Council security officers. They were always watching the humans, especially those with scientific backgrounds. At exactly midnight, Jack slipped into Laboratory 12 where Dr. Wright was waiting. Her usually neat blonde hair was messy, and dark circles shadowed her eyes. I haven't slept in 3 days, she said without greeting. Look at this. She pulled up a holographic display showing 2 DNA strands rotating slowly. The top one is standard human DNA. The bottom one is what I found buried in our genetic code, hidden within what we used to call junk DNA. It's not junk, Jack. It's dormant. Jack studied the display. Dormant genes, what do they do? That's the thing. They're unlike anything in Earth's evolutionary history, and the Council database has no record of similar sequences in any known species. She lowered her voice. Except for 3 extinct ones tagged as war-strain species in their archives. Jack felt his mouth go dry. Can these dormant genes be activated? Theoretically, yes. They appear to respond to extreme stress, particularly combat situations. I think that's why the Council is so interested in our military history. Before Jack could respond, his secure comm beeped. It was Kyle Bennett from Military Intelligence. Jack, meet me at Docking Bay 7 in 30 minutes. Bring Dr. Wright. Don't use the main corridors. The urgency in Kyle's voice was clear. Jack and Elaine left separately, taking different routes to avoid attention. Kyle was waiting inside a small maintenance ship when they arrived. His tall frame was tense as he closed the door behind them. I've been mapping the restricted areas of the Council archives, he explained, pulling up a secure display. 3 previous species with genetic markers similar to ours were classified as war strain. All 3 developed advanced capabilities during wartime. All 3 were systematically eliminated by the Council after they discovered their potential. Dr. Wright gasped. They're planning to eliminate us too? The Council is divided, Kyle said. Some want to study us. Others want to contain us. Few advocate for our elimination before we activate. The debate is happening right now. Jack was about to speak when a soft knock came at the door. Kyle drew his concealed weapon, but Jack held up his hand. He recognized the pattern of knocks. It was Olivia. He opened the door. Olivia Russell stepped inside, accompanied by a slender alien with pale blue skin and large, worried eyes. "This is Talara," Olivia said. "She works in the Council's historical division. She wants to help us." The alien spoke in a whispered tone. "What they are doing is wrong. Your species deserves to know the truth." Talara explained that Earth had once been a testing ground. Millions of years ago, an ancient civilization, called the progenitors, had feared a great enemy. They had engineered several species as living weapons, seeding them across the galaxy. Humans were one such creation. The genes were designed to activate in stages, Talara said. First physical enhancements, strength, speed, endurance. Then, sensory improvements. Finally, cognitive and tactical abilities beyond normal evolution. "Why haven't these activated fully already?" Jack asked. "Earth has had countless wars. The genes were designed to activate progressively, with each generation exposed to conflict developing further. Your world wars should have triggered mass activation, but something inhibited the process." Talara looked troubled. "The Council has been monitoring Earth for centuries, waiting to see if you would access these abilities. And now they're afraid we will," Kyle said grimly. Their discussion was interrupted by an emergency alert on Kyle's secure comm. "Council security is searching for Dr. Wright. They know about her research. We need to get back to Earth," Jackie said. "We have to warn them." They quickly formed a plan. Kyle would secure transport back to Earth. Olivia would gather what intelligence she could with Talara's help. Jack and Dr. Wright would retrieve her research data. Jack and Elaine made it to her lab just as Council security forces arrived. They hid behind equipment as the alien officers began searching. "They're going to find us," Elaine whispered, clutching her data drive. "We need a distraction," Jack replied, eyeing the chemical storage cabinets. Using his knowledge of xenobiology, Jack mixed compounds that would create thick smoke but not cause permanent harm. When he triggered the mixture, alien security officers began coughing and retreating from the spreading cloud. Jack grabbed Elaine's hand. "Run!" They sprinted through the corridors, alarms blaring around them. At an intersection, they literally collided with Olivia. "Kyle secured a ship," she panted. "Docking Bay 3. Talara says they're preparing for a full vote on humanity's containment." They barely reached the ship before security sealed the bay. Kyle was at the controls, bypassing normal launch protocols. The small vessel shuddered as it broke free from the station. "They're activating weapon systems," Kyle warned as they accelerated away. A warning shot flashed past their viewport, then another, closer. "They're not trying to kill us," Jack realized. "They want to disable us and take Elaine's research." The next shot clipped their engine. Warning lights flashed across the control panel as the ship began to spin. "I can't hold it," Kyle shouted, fighting with the controls. Something changed in Jack at that moment. Time seemed to slow. His hands moved to the co-pilot controls with precision he shouldn't have possessed. Somehow he knew exactly which systems to reroute, which backups to activate. Kyle stared at him in shock as Jack stabilized the ship. "How did you do that?" Jack looked down at his hands, feeling strange. "I don't know. I just knew." Dr. Wright was scanning him with a medical device. "Jack, your dormant genes, they're starting to activate." As their damaged ship limped toward Earth, the 4 humans exchanged worried glances. The Council would be coming after them, and soon they would be coming after all of humanity. Jack looked out at the stars, feeling something awakening inside him. We need to prepare Earth for war. Because ready or not, it's coming to find us. The mood in the underground command center beneath Denver was tense. It had been 2 weeks since Jack and his team returned to Earth with their alarming discoveries. 2 weeks since the Galactic Council had announced a complete quarantine of Earth's solar system, claiming they had detected a dangerous biological contaminant. Admiral Peterson stood before the large tactical display, his face grim as he addressed the Emergency Council of World Leaders. The Council fleet now numbers 67 warships. They've established blockades at all jump points in our system. No ships in or out. Dr. Elaine Wright stepped forward. My team has confirmed what Jack discovered. All humans carry these dormant gene sequences. They appear designed to activate under extreme stress, particularly combat conditions. Is that why they fear us? Asked the Chinese president. Yes, Jack said. Historical records show 3 previous species with similar genetics developed abilities far beyond their normal evolution during wartime. The Council eliminated all 3 once they understood what was happening. Olivia Russell, who had been analyzing Council communications, spoke up. Their internal debates are heated. Some argue for peaceful containment, others for immediate sterilization of Earth. Sterilization? The word hung heavy in the air. Their term for wiping out a planet's population, Olivia explained quietly. General Alan Cooper, head of Earth's Defense Force, cleared his throat. We've mobilized every military asset we have, but we're severely outmatched. Their technology is centuries beyond ours. But we have something they fear, Jack said. We just need to understand how to use it. Dr. Wright nodded. I've been studying the activation triggers. Based on historical accounts of battlefield miracles, soldiers lifting impossible weights, surviving fatal wounds, demonstrating impossible accuracy, I believe these dormant genes have been partially activating throughout human history. Before she could continue, an urgent message came through. Captain Susan Martinez of the patrol vessel Defiance was reporting contact with Council forces near Jupiter. The room fell silent as the transmission played. This is Captain Martinez. 3 Council warships have ordered us to power down and prepare for boarding. We've refused. They've opened fire. We've taken heavy damage, engines down, life support failing. The transmission crackled with static and explosions. They're boarding us. The captain's voice cut off as sounds of combat erupted in the background. Then something changed in the audio. The sounds of fighting continued, but there were new noises. Screams from the alien boarders. A different voice came on the line. This is Lieutenant Frank Dixon. Captain Martinez is down. His voice was strangely calm despite the chaos behind him. Something's happening to us. We're changing. We can fight them. We're winning. The transmission ended abruptly. Get me that ship, ordered Admiral Peterson. Hours later, rescue vessels reached the damaged Defiance. What they found stunned everyone. 23 crew members had survived against overwhelming odds. 3 of them, Lieutenant Dixon and 2 security officers, had undergone visible physical changes. Their muscle density had increased. Their reaction times were off the charts. It was like time slowed down, Dixon explained from quarantine. I could see exactly where to strike. I knew exactly how much force to use against their body armor. We were outnumbered 5-1, but we drove them back. Dr. Wright conducted extensive tests on the 3 affected crew members. The dormant genes have partially activated, she reported. Their strength has roughly doubled. Their neural response times are 40% faster, and they're still changing. Over the next few days, the situation deteriorated rapidly. Council forces attacked outposts on Mars and the Moon. Earth's military responded with everything they had, but they were fighting a losing battle against superior technology. Yet with each engagement, reports came back of human soldiers displaying unexpected abilities. A squad trapped on Phobos fought for 60 hours straight without rest. A pilot whose fighter was destroyed continued to function in vacuum for 8 minutes before rescue, far longer than should have been possible. In the Denver Command Center, Jack watched the reports flood in. It's happening just as the records suggested, he told Olivia. Combat is triggering the activation, but it's sporadic, unpredictable. Dr. Wright joined them, excitement in her eyes despite her exhaustion. I've made a breakthrough. The activation appears to generate a kind of resonance field. When one human activates, it increases the likelihood of activation in nearby humans. Like a chain reaction? Olivia asked. Exactly. And I think we can trigger it deliberately. General Cooper, who had been listening, stepped forward. How? A targeted treatment that simulates the biochemical changes of combat activation, Dr. Wright explained. It's experimental, dangerous, but it might give us a fighting chance. I'll do it, Jack said immediately. Jack, the risk, Olivia began, is necessary, he finished. I've already experienced partial activation during our escape from the station. I'm the logical test subject. 24 hours later, Jack lay strapped to a medical bed as Dr. Wright prepared the injection. This will simulate extreme combat stress, she warned. Your body will think it's fighting for its life. Jack nodded. Do it. The pain was immediate and overwhelming. Jack's body arched against the restraints as fire seemed to spread through his veins. His vision blurred, then sharpened to incredible clarity. He could count the dust particles in the air. He could hear heartbeats across the room. The restraints, designed to hold 10 times human strength, began to creak. His vitals are off the charts, a technician reported. Brain activity is beyond measurable levels. Jack felt his consciousness, expanding, reaching. Somehow he could sense the council ships in orbit. He could feel the fear of their crews. Then came knowledge, how their weapons worked, the weaknesses in their shield systems, the blind spots in their sensors. When the pain finally subsided, Jack sat up slowly. The restraints had snapped like paper. Everyone in the room stared at him. Did it work? General Cooper asked cautiously. Jack looked at his hands. They seemed normal, but he could feel the power coursing through him. When he spoke, his voice was deeper, more resonant. It worked, and I know how to fight them now. He turned to Olivia. Contact everyone who's shown signs of activation. We need to form a special unit immediately. What for? She asked. Jack's eyes gleamed with newfound purpose. We're going to take the fight to them. The council wanted to contain us because they feared what we might become. He smiled grimly. It's time to show them they were right to be afraid. 3 months had passed since Jack underwent the experimental treatment. Earth's forces had moved from desperate defense to calculated counterattacks. The once overwhelming council fleet found itself facing an enemy that grew stronger with each engagement. Jack stood on the bridge of the newly commissioned warship Awakening, his enhanced senses taking in every detail around him. Screens displayed battle data from across the solar system. Mars had been retaken last week, the Moon 2 weeks before that. Fleet is in position, reported Lieutenant Dixon, now Jack's second in command. Like Jack, Dixon had fully awakened his dormant genes. His eyes glowed faintly when he focused intensely. Begin the operation, Jack ordered. On screens around the bridge, 20 Earthships appeared from behind Jupiter's moons, attacking the Council blockade from multiple angles. The human ships were smaller, less advanced, but they moved with impossible precision, seeming to anticipate the Council ships' every move. They're reacting exactly as you predicted, Olivia said from her station. Since her own awakening, she had developed an uncanny ability to understand patterns, in communications, in tactics, in movement. Jack nodded. They're used to fighting enemies with fixed capabilities. They don't understand what they're facing. In the 3 months since the war began in earnest, Dr. Wright had confirmed what Jack's team had suspected. The dormant genes weren't just enhancing humans physically. They were unlocking abilities that defied conventional understanding. Some awakened humans developed combat precognition, the ability to sense attacks before they happened. Others showed perfect coordination when fighting in groups, moving, like a single organism. Still others displayed an intuitive understanding of any weapon system they touched, even alien technology they'd never seen before. Most remarkably, these abilities spread. When awakened humans fought alongside regular, Troops, the regular soldiers, began showing signs of activation too. Dr. Wright called it resonance contagion. Council flagship is attempting to withdraw, Dixon reported. Not this time, Jack said. Target their drive systems. The Awakening fired its main weapons, hybrid systems that combined Earth technology with principles Jack had somehow known after his transformation. The shots bypassed the Council ship's shields as if they weren't there. On the Council flagship, Supreme Counselor Dexon watched in horror as his supposedly impenetrable defenses failed. How are they doing this? He demanded of his advisors. Their ships are centuries behind ours. It's not their ships, Counselor, replied his chief scientist. It's them. The humans themselves are changing, evolving with each battle. Every engagement makes them stronger. You assured me this was impossible. Dexon slammed his fist down. You said the activation would take generations. That was true for the previous war-strained species. The scientist's voice shook. But humans are different. The ancient engineers built fail-safes into the other species. With humans, they removed all limits. Why would they do such a thing? The scientist hesitated. According to the oldest records, humans were their final project, their ultimate weapons, the last line of defense against something even the engineers feared. Before Dexon could respond, the ship shuddered as another volley struck. Emergency lights flashed. Earth vessels are boarding, reported a security officer. Minutes later, Jack led a team of awakened soldiers onto the Council flagship. Regular troops would have been slaughtered by the ship's defenses, but Jack's team moved like ghosts through the corridors, neutralizing resistance with frightening efficiency. They reached the bridge quickly. When the door slid open, Dexon found himself facing Jack, whose eyes now held the same subtle glow as Dixon's. You should have left us alone, Jack said simply. At the Denver Command Center, Dr. Wright presented her latest findings to General Cooper and Admiral Peterson. The Awakening is spreading faster than we predicted, she explained, showing them data on a large screen. 10% of our military personnel now show some level of activation, and we're seeing new abilities emerging. What kind of abilities? Asked the Admiral. Enhanced healing. Some soldiers are recovering from wounds that should be fatal. Others are developing specialized capabilities based on their roles. Pilots, with improved spatial awareness. Technicians who can interface directly with machinery. What's causing this acceleration? General Cooper asked. Dr. Wright displayed a new set of images. We've identified a network-like structure forming in the brains of awakened humans. They're connecting to each other on a level we don't fully understand yet. It's almost like a collective combat consciousness. Back on the captured Council flagship, Jack interrogated Dexon while Olivia accessed the ship's database. You knew what we were, Jack said. You knew, and you still provoked us. Dexon's three eyes blinked nervously. We had no choice. Your kind were designed as the ultimate biological weapons. The ancient engineers created you to become stronger through conflict. The more you fight, the more powerful you become. Why? Did they make us this way? Dexon hesitated. The records are incomplete, but they speak of an enemy from beyond the galactic rim. Something the engineers fought and barely contained. They seeded several worlds with modified species as a defense network. Humans were their final creation. Olivia looked up from her console. Jack, I found something. According to these files, we've only accessed the first tier of abilities. There are 2 more levels of awakening possible. That's impossible, Dexon said. No war-strained species has ever reached beyond the first tier. The Council eliminated the others before they could progress further. What happens at the next tier? Jack asked. We don't know, Dexon admitted. The engineers' records speak of transcendence and connection to the battle mind. The Council has always been too afraid to find out. 1 month later, Earth's forces had pushed the Council fleet out of the solar system entirely. News of human victories spread across Council space, sparking rebellions on worlds that had been subjugated for centuries. In Denver, Jack met with Earth's leadership to discuss the changing situation. We've won the immediate battle, he told them. But the war isn't over. The Council is regrouping and they're desperate. They'll try to eliminate us completely rather than risk further awakening. Can we negotiate? Asked a political advisor. Jack shook his head. Not from our current position. We need to take the fight to them, show them we're not a threat unless threatened. That's a difficult argument to make while attacking them, Admiral Peterson pointed out. True peace requires strength, Jack replied. And not just military strength. We need to show them there's more to our awakening than combat abilities. Later, alone with Olivia, Jack shared his deeper concerns. Dexon was telling the truth about the ancient enemy. I can feel it somehow, like a shadow at the edge of awareness. Our creators built us for a purpose beyond this conflict. Olivia took his hand. The second tier of awakening might reveal more. Jack nodded, looking out at the stars. The Council pushed us to become what they feared. But maybe what they feared is exactly what the galaxy will need. 1 year after the Council's failed attempt to contain Earth, Jack stood on the observation deck of humanity's new flagship, the Defender. Below him spread the breathtaking view of the Galactic Council's homeworld, Centaurus Prime. Its blue-green continents and swirling white clouds reminded him of Earth, though its 3 moons gave the sky an alien quality. Strange to think we'd end up here, Olivia said, joining him at the viewport. Her eyes, like those of all awakened humans, held that subtle inner light that marked their changed nature. Not as strange as them asking for our help, Jack replied. The last 6 months had transformed the conflict. After pushing Council forces from the solar system, humanity had taken the fight to Council space. But they hadn't come as conquerors. Jack had insisted on a measured approach, targeting only military installations while broadcasting their true intentions to civilian populations. The strategy worked better than anyone expected. 7 oppressed species rose up against Council rule. 3 Council members broke away, seeking alliance with Earth. The revelation that the Council had previously eliminated 3 war-strained species shocked many who had believed in its benevolent image. Now, humanity stood at a crossroads. The Council leadership, facing collapse, had requested peace talks. Admiral Peterson is ready to begin negotiations, Dixon reported, entering the observation deck. Like many awakened humans, Dixon had continued to evolve. He could now interface directly with ship systems, his consciousness extending through the vessel like an extra sense. New ships detected entering the system, he added. 4 vessels, unknown configuration. Jack nodded. The Mirith delegation. They've come to witness the negotiations. The Mirith were the first non-Council species to actively seek human alliance. Their world had been under Council protection for centuries. They had recognized in humans something they desperately needed: the power to determine their own future. In the Grand Council chamber, representatives from 32 species gathered for the historic meeting. Supreme Counselor Dexon, humbled by defeat, opened the proceedings. For 10,000 years, the Galactic Council has maintained order among the stars. We believed our advanced technology and ancient wisdom gave us the right to decide the fate of younger species. He paused, his 3 eyes blinking in sequence. We were wrong. Jack stepped forward to address the assembly. A year ago, he had been simply a xenobiologist. Now he spoke for all humanity. We did not want this war. We sought only to join the galactic community in peace. But when threatened with extinction, we discovered what we truly are. Jack looked around the chamber. And what we are is not what you feared. We were not designed only for destruction. Dr. Wright, who had accompanied Jack to the talks, activated a holographic display. It showed the 3-tiered structure of human, dormant genes. The first tier enhances our physical abilities, she explained. The second, which some of us have now reached, allows for connection and coordination between awakened humans. But the third tier, which we've only begun to understand, appears designed for something more. As the negotiations continued, back on Earth, something remarkable was happening. General Cooper watched in amazement as 5 severely wounded soldiers healed before his eyes. Their injuries, which should have been fatal, closed and regenerated within hours instead of months. Second-tier abilities continue to develop, reported a medical officer. We're seeing new manifestations daily. Cooper nodded. And the third, tier? Still theoretical. Dr. Wright believes it requires a specific trigger, something beyond even the stress of our current conflict. The peace conference on Centaurus Prime was in its third day when alarms suddenly blared throughout the system. Dixon burst into the chamber where Jack and Olivia were reviewing treaty terms. Long-range sensors have detected something massive, approaching from beyond the galactic rim, he reported, his voice tense. Council astronomers are saying it matches ancient warnings about the enemy their engineers feared. For the first time since Jack had known him, Supreme Counselor Dexon looked truly terrified. The legends were true, the alien whispered. The void swarm returns. This is why the engineers created you. This is what they prepared you for. Over the next hours, data poured in from observation posts. A vast fleet of biomechanical ships was approaching, already consuming outer colonies at the galaxy's edge. Unlike anything seen before, these ships seemed to absorb both energy and matter, growing stronger with each world they encountered. In an emergency session, Jack addressed the representatives of all species present. The threat we face is beyond any single civilization, he said. This is why humanity was created with the ability to adapt and grow stronger through conflict. Not to conquer, but to protect. But even your awakened abilities may not be enough, Dexon said. The ancient records suggest the engineers barely drove back the first wave, and that was with technology far beyond even ours. Jack exchanged a look with Olivia and Dr. Wright. There's the third tier, Olivia suggested quietly. With no guarantee what it does, Dr. Wright cautioned. Jack made his decision. Prepare the awakened for connection. All of them. Hours later on the Defender, Jack lay in a specially designed chamber. Around him, in similar chambers across the fleet, 3,000 awakened humans prepared for an unprecedented experiment. Through their second-tier abilities, they had formed a network of minds. Now they would attempt to trigger the final layer of their dormant heritage together. Are you sure about this? Olivia asked, standing beside Jack's chamber. No, he admitted, but I'm sure about why we were made. The engineers didn't create us as weapons. They created us as guardians. The process began. Jack felt his consciousness expanding, connecting not just to the other awakened humans, but to something vast and ancient. Knowledge flooded in. Battle, strategies from wars fought millennia ago, technologies beyond current understanding, and a deep, purposeful awareness. When he opened his eyes, they blazed with golden light. Across the fleet, thousands of awakened humans rose with the same illumination burning within them. They moved with perfect coordination, no longer separate individuals but parts of something greater. Jack felt the approaching enemy, felt their hunger, their mindless consumption. But he also felt something else, a fierce determination to protect, not just humanity, but all life in the galaxy. When he spoke, his voice carried the weight of both his humanity and something more. We know what we must do now. We know why we exist. He turned to the amazed council representatives. Your engineers built well. We are not just war gods. We are shields for the living. As the first Void Swarm ships entered the system, humanity stood ready, no longer just an upstart species but the inheritors of an ancient trust. The war to defend all life had begun, and the weapons the enemy had feared most had finally awakened to their true purpose.